Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at the very first of the 2019 Papo lineup, and it's a figure that many people were very excited for, not because it was a brand new sculpt or anything, as we have had this sculpt I think 3-4 times now. This will be the 4th time, but because it is the Brown Tyrannosaurus Rex, the running Brown Tyrannosaurus Rex, being re-released, as so many people wanted to get a hold of this figure. But when it was initially released by Papo a very long time ago, it was only released for a limited time, and then it was discontinued and then replaced with the green one, so very few people had a chance to actually own this figure. Now, many people have found a way to purchase it throughout the years, but that's through third-party sellers, and they had to pay one hefty heck of an amount of money to get a hold of one because these things are that rare. But luckily, Papo has graced us with a re-release, which is kind of a bummer for the people that spent all that money to go ahead and get one back in the day. But I will actually say that those ones that all you people that did get a hold of a Brown Rex from a while back spent that hard-earned money and lots of it to get a hold of it, it's not the end of the world, because honestly, I think this one is a slight bit different from the one that you actually got. It's a little bit different from the original one. When I was recently taking a look at some images of the original compared to this, at least mine doesn't have it anyway. On the original one had the brown striping slightly throughout the tail and the legs and everything. These newer ones do not. The older original release also appears to have a white eye, whereas the newer version has a yellow eye. So that means that the older one does still have some collectability to it, and it is definitely slightly different as far as variation of paint goes on the figure. However, we are here today to take a look at this new version, so let's go ahead, get an up-close personal look with this Rex now. So if we start up here at the head sculpt itself, and in fact the entire sculpt of this dinosaur is no different compared to the previous releases. So there is absolutely zero difference in the sculpt, and we do not need to actually review the sculpt again, as we have already done that. And I will link you in the description if you are interested in seeing a more in-depth review of the actual sculpt of the figure. But we are here basically to take a look at what the new additions are to this figure, and that would just basically be the alternate paint scheme. So, as you can tell, I did open the jaw. The jaw is articulated, and the inside of the mouth is one thing that I wanted to point out right away, because I don't recall Papo doing this too often and including a gloss on the inside of the mouth, but you can actually see that the gloss has been included on the inside of the mouth. So Papo is starting to take note of the idea of using a gloss. Again, I don't recall if it was used at all last year, but I was kind of impressed when I did see it on this figure, so I really wanted to point it out. And honestly, I think the skin flap here on the inside of the mouth just looks absolutely insanely real to me, and it glosses so well. It honestly genuinely has that perfect realistic wet look and is just super impressive to me. I think they've done a great job on the inside of the mouth. Of course, the detail and everything is something we've talked about before, but it really helps to look very real, as there's kind of a darker wash throughout that skin flap that kind of brings the detail out, but that genuine wet look looks fantastic on the inside there, that skin flap, and even on the inside of the mouth in general, all has that nice kind of realistic saliva-y look, so it looks really, really good. The teeth are painted nicely. There's no sloppiness, at least on mine. Maybe like very, very slightly, but just barely, if at all, noticeable. I think the teeth in general actually look really good, so they've done a great job there. And then as we move up into the head, I had actually seen a few people that had ordered this Rex complain, saying that their paint wasn't that good. But I don't know why theirs wasn't, because I think mine looks incredible. The browns and everything included all over the head. If you look, there are just so many different variations of brown and so many different skin tone colorations as far as those browns go, that it's just absolutely beautiful to me and mind-blowing how anybody could complain about it unless they didn't quite get as good of a painted one as I did, because I think mine looks fantastic. And honestly, as far as the paint goes, I think this is even better than normal Papo paint, and normal Papo has a really good paint job, but honestly, they've done such a great job just here looking at the face. Just look at the different tones of brown all throughout the head, even like right here on the upper jaw, right above the teeth, it kind of gets to like a darker brown. And then you look over here, you've got some nice dark, like black dry brushing. And then if you look throughout the lower jaw, there's just like lighter browns and darker browns, and even the same up here on the upper jaw. So that is just super awesome. And they've done such a great job of creating this paint job in a very realistic way that I honestly just can't help but love it. They also have a nice dark brown around the eye area, and then the eye itself is yellow with a black pupil, and the eye is honestly painted perfectly. I think it looks fantastic. There's no sloppiness at all, and again they've included a very nice dark wash all throughout the head area of the dinosaur, really bringing out that incredible Papo detail. So I really love the use of the wash, and I think it looks fantastic and really pays off when it comes to the overall realism level of this figure. Same goes when you look at this side of the head. Again, beautiful variations of brown and everything all throughout the entire head sculpt of this figure, and I think it just looks awesome. It's honestly my new favorite Papo Rex because the paint is just so realistically done and just impresses me so much, absolutely blowing me away as far as how realistic this paint scheme is. And then as you start to lead down the neck, it turns into that brown, but it has that awesome dark, like black dry brushing that they've done over it to really bring out the detail and again give it some variation of color. And that same brown kind of runs the entire length of the dinosaur, even down here onto the arms. And this actually is the only area of the dinosaur I don't really like. They've given it some random striping here on the arms, and I honestly think that doesn't look too natural. I think it looks more like paint than anything else. So if we get past the arms and the awkward stripes and move back up into the body itself, I really love the way they've dry brushed this dark coloration over here on the rib area, because the lighter brown is in between each rib, really elaborating that whole area and making that area just pop and jump out at you. It looks fantastic, and again giving it some variation of color in a very realistic way. And then as you move back here into the hip area, you can again take note of that dry brushing that's been done with the browns and everything as you run down the length of the foot. And again, the feet themselves have a very nice wash with a brown coloration over top. They look fantastic. The nails have a beautiful gloss, again giving them a very realistic look. I think the feet look great, and even if you look here at the calf, it's like a light brown, but when you actually get to the foot, it's a slightly, ever so slightly different shade of like a brown. Just again, that extra little bit of realism to their figure as far as the coloration goes that just impresses me so much. If you look here, you can kind of take note of like some brown striping in this leg, but it's not quite what you saw in the older model. I think the older model had more of a black striping. So again, there is some slight striping, but it's a variation of color that's different compared to the previous release. And then as you run out the length of the tail, again, that dry brushing on the upper side continues the entire way out with that lighter brown on the underside, and again it looks very nice, very realistic. Looking at the opposing side, again same deal pretty much with the dry brushing. Again, there's those awkward stripes on the arm that I don't really like too much. I think it would have looked better without those. You can again take note to the way the paint has been dry brushed over top of the rib cage, really elaborating it, and again allowing that lighter brown to reach out from in between each rib to really bring your attention to that area. I like that right here, even in this area where the skin is being pulled with the leg moving, you kind of see almost like a reddish brown, really just showing you the variation of different browns and everything that have been used throughout the entire dinosaur figure. And again, you can take note of those very light but brown stripes that are included. You almost don't take notice of them from far away till you really get close, again showing you that variation of color, and it's awesome. I just absolutely love it. And that nice dry brushing and that beautiful darker brown runs down here into the foot, which just looks as nice as the previous foot did. Very beautifully done, that nice gloss on the nails and everything once again. And then we come back up here into the tail, again leading out the tail with that nice dry brushing, that darker brown, the almost burnt umberish brown on the top with a dark black dry brushing done over it, really bringing out the detail, and that lighter brown on the underbelly. I think there are so many different variations of brown and everything included that this Rex is just absolutely incredible looking. So as far as the brown paint scheme of this new Rex, it is awesome, and honestly is easily my favorite out of all the Tyrannosaurus Rex figures that Papo has released over the years. this one is definitely my favorite so far, and I really love this figure, and the entire look of it just looks so real. The paint applied just looks so real, and it is just blowing my mind the more I look at how nicely painted this Rex is. There is actually, and don't be fooled, but there is a bootleg, of course, out already of this figure, and this is the bootleg. You can see that the bootleg does not balance. You can see that the bootleg's going to need some help standing up from the real one, but you can see that this bootleg is not even remotely close to as nicely painted as the actual real brown Papo Rex. I did buy this bootleg a long time ago, and I bought it simply because it was a brown running Rex and there was no way I was going to be able to afford the prices of the original one. So if you do go to buy one of these, make sure you're buying a Papo original and not a bootleg, because honestly this bootleg at the time made me pretty happy, but looking at it next to an actual Papo, it is kind of disgusting and I want to punch it in the face, because it is not even remotely close to as nice as this one is. One intriguing thing about this bootleg though, it's got the brown coloration, but it also has hints of green throughout, so it's kind of like a mix of both of them. It's got the brown and greens. But if you take a look here, just look at the face and everything of this Rex, how sloppy the teeth are. The jaw doesn't really articulate very well. And overall, the entire head area of this compared to the actual Papo, that's crazy, the difference right there. And if you look at the actual body paint and everything, it looks okay if you look at the regular body of this. But then when you look at the body of the actual Papo, it is just light years ahead of what you get on this fairly ugly bootleg. So again, I just wanted to bring the bootleg to your attention and make sure that you are aware that there are brown Rex bootlegs out there of the Papo running Rex, but they are not even remotely close to as nice as this actual Papo brown running Rex for 2019 is. As far as the size, even though we have gone through all this before with the previous release, we'll do it again just because. So from the tail to the head, you're looking at about 12 3/4 inches, so just over a foot long, or about 32 centimeters in length. And for a height, you're looking at about 5 1/4 inches, or about 13.5 centimeters in height. For a size comparison, there is his buddy and family member, the green Papo Rex, the standing version next to the brown running Papo Rex. And again, you can see they are very similar, but honestly, once again, I think the paint job on the actual brown Rex is significantly nicer than even what we got on the older green Rex that is long discontinued. And I really love this brown Rex. But again, if you happen to have the green Rex, this should give you an idea of the brown Rex's size if you don't already own one of the previous versions of the Papo Brown Rex. I did try to locate my other Rexes, so that the other running Rexes, so that I could put them all together and show you a nice family portrait, but unfortunately, I don't have even the slightest idea where I put them. I looked all throughout my storage area, and although they're in there somewhere, I've got so many figures in there that it was nearly impossible to find them until one of these days when I actually go through everything. But regardless, I'm sure you know that, as I said, the sculpt looks exactly the same. There is no difference as far as the sculpt goes compared to the previous ones as opposed to this one, but it's just really the new paint scheme that is what we were interested in. And I will say that this paint scheme was completely knocked totally out of the park by Papo. They have done an incredible job on this. I was very concerned with the few people that I had seen complaining about theirs, saying that the paint job wasn't so good, so I got heavily concerned because at that point I had already ordered it. Not that I wasn't going to order it anyway, but it was already on its way to me. But I will say that once I got it out of the box, took a look at it, it just blew me away, and I am completely happy, overly happy with this purchase, and think that this brown new Papo Rex is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, without question, if you are a fan of Tyrannosaurus Rex, dinosaurs, or Papo in general, you should get on ordering this guy right away, because it is fantastic. So I will throw a link in the description to everythingdinosaur.com where I ordered mine, so you can head on over there right now, purchase yourself an awesome brown Papo 2019 Tyrannosaurus Rex, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.